Hello everyone, in this video we are going to talk about Vishnu's ninth avatar, which is Buddha avatar. Buddha when compassion replaced ritual. When the age darkened not through tyranny but through ritual hardened into habit. When sacrifice multiplied and sacred law began to justify suffering rather than restrain it. Vishnu is said in later Hindu tradition to have appeared in the form of unlike any before, not as a warrior or a king, but as a Gautama Buddha. Born as Siddhārtha Gautama, the prince of Śākya clan, unlike earlier avatars who declared divine authority openly, this incarnation unfolded in silence, raised within palace walls surrounded by luxury and protection. Siddhartha lived shielded from suffering until the fragile illusion of permanence shattered through the encounters with sickness, old age, and death. Yet the final and the most important sight was that of the wandering ascetic, a figure who had stepped away from the cycle of ordinary life in the search of liberation. In that moment, Siddhartha realized that suffering was universal, but so too might be the possibility of freedom from it. One night, unable to ignore the truth he had seen, Siddhartha quietly left the palace in what tradition remembers as the Great Renunciation. Riding beyond the city gates on his horse, Kantha Ka, while the world he had known slept behind him. He cut his hair, exchanged royal garments for the robes of a seeker, and began a long search for liberation. He studied under renowned teachers and practiced extreme asceticism, pushing his body to the brink of death in the belief that suffering itself might produce enlightenment. Eventually, he recognized that both indulgence and self torture were the form of imbalance. From this realization emerged the principle that would shape all his teachings, the middle way, a path between access and denial. According to the tradition, after abandoning extreme asceticism, Siddhartha accepted a simple offering of milk, rice from a village woman named Sujata. Regaining the strength necessary to continue his meditation, sitting beneath the Bodhi tree, he faced the temptations and fears embodied by Mara, who attempted to break his concentration through doubt, desire, and illusion. Remaining unmoved, Siddhartha awakened a profound insight into the nature of existence, that suffering arises from craving, that craving binds beings to cycles of rebirth, and that liberation becomes possible through clarity, discipline, and compassion. After his awakening, the Buddha did not claim divine authority or demand worship. Instead, he traveled to Sanarth, where he delivered his first teachings to five former companions in what became known as the turning of the wheel of Dharma. There he explained the Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path, presenting liberation as a practical discipline rather than a divine gift. These five ascetics became the first members of the Sangha, a community built not on birth or caste but on dedication to the path, a radical shift in the society where spiritual authority had long been inherited. For next decades, Buddha walked across northern India teaching kings, merchants, monks, and villagers alike. His message steadily redirected attention away from sacrifice and towards compassion, away from inherited authority and towards direct understanding. Rather than dismantling tradition through confrontation, he transformed it by making awakening accessible through awareness, ethical conduct, and disciplined thought. In his final days at Kushkin Ghar, the Buddha reminded his followers that all conditioned things are impermanent and that liberation must ultimately be realized individually. His final teaching urged them to strive diligently and rely upon their own insight. With these words, he entered Parnirvana, leaving behind not a throne, temple, or command to worship, but a path grounded in awareness and compassion. Within the framework of Hindu tradition, this avatar of Vishnu represents a unique moment in the cosmic story, a descent in which the divine works not through conquest or miracle but through wisdom and restraint. By turning attention away from ritual and towards suffering itself, the Buddha reminded humanity that liberation cannot be granted by ceremony alone. It must arise from understanding the mind and cultivating the compassion for all beings. With that, we have covered our ninth avatar of Vishnu, which is Buddha. I hope you like it. Thank you for watching.